Welcome to Wildcard Reads. I'm Wildcard Angel, and today we are going over the books that I read for the second half of June. Starting off, we have Hot Hex Boyfriend. This book I definitely recommend. I actually gave this book 5 stars. It was everything I love in a witch fiction. It's about a woman who's about to turn 30, and she grew up in a family that thinks they're witches, but everyone kind of makes fun of them for it. Now, what she doesn't know, and she will find out very early on, is that she actually is a witch. It is up to her. She is I believe, the Blue Moon Witch, and it is up to her to break the curse where her family does not have magic and hasn't had magic for generations. She doesn't know exactly how to break the curse. And her family does a lot of witchy rituals, but some of these rituals require sacrifice. They don't really do the sacrifices when it comes to like sacrificing a baby per se. So they improvise and do other things. And instead of it being like a potion, they call it, well, she calls it a soup, while the rest of her family calls it a potion. She has no idea, and she actually thinks they're crazy. This story gets so good, and there is a romance in it. Of course, Hot Hex Boyfriend. There has to be a boyfriend in there. And it is adorable. I highly recommend it, and I absolutely loved it. The Woman of Light. I expected more from this book than I got. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. So it follows a girl who is a seer, and multiple generations of her family are seers. So she's able to see the past, the present, the future, different things that are going on. And I just found that the story does jump around quite a bit. Now in this story, it is set back in time, so there is a lot of bigotry. There are horrible things that happen to people throughout the story. And honestly, I wouldn't recommend it. It is a historical fiction, but it definitely just wasn't what I was looking for. So I gave this book 3 stars. If you're interested in it, definitely check it out. It just wasn't for me. The Invisible Hour. Now, this book was one of the best books that I've read so far this summer. I definitely gave this book 5 stars. I absolutely loved it, and I didn't really know what I was getting going into it. But let me just say, there is a cult that the child is raised in. There is a pregnancy that the mother feels that she has to run from. There, of course, it's set back in time. Women do not really have all the freedoms and choices of what they should have when it comes to their own bodies. So that is covered in the book. And then there is definitely like magical realism of time travel and falling in love with books, and books leading to saving lives, books leading to romance, and it's absolutely amazing. I highly recommend everyone should read this book. 5 stars. If the Shoe Fits. This book was so adorable. Okay, so our main character is a plus-size woman. She just graduated from fashion school, and she's going back home. It does talk about how she lost her mother at a younger age and how she lost her father more recently. So when she's going back home, she's actually going back home to her stepmother and her siblings. Now, it's not an evil stepmother situation, which I loved. And so the stepmother is actually really kind to her, wants to protect her. And she ends up going into a reality TV show that's very similar to The Bachelor. I was not expecting that, and it was so cute. While she's on her way home, there is a little meet cute on the plane. You can only guess who's the Bachelor in the reality TV show. This book definitely had its ups and downs. I was really ticked off at one point, like, oh my God, this cannot be happening. And I can't say anymore or I will ruin it for you. I absolutely love this book. It was definitely a 4-star read for me, and I would highly recommend it for a good summer read. Charming. This book is definitely about women empowerment. Now, this has many different fairy tale retellings going on throughout this. Ones that I noticed were definitely Rapunzel, Let's see, there was Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. And there is this guy named Charming. He is Prince Charming, and he is going around and making these women fall in love with him, saving them from whatever it is they happen to be going through, and then wanting to say he's going to marry them. But then in the middle of the night, he runs away with all of their riches. These women are not having it. They are planning on hunting him down for vengeance. This was a really good story. I absolutely loved it. If you like fairy tale retellings, I would definitely recommend picking this up. I gave this one 4 stars. White Smoke. White Smoke was so intriguing and I had to check it out. So in White Smoke, this is about a high schooler who has just recently moved. She's dealt with a lot of mental health issues. Her family used to be very poor, and they've had like a bed bug situation, which definitely plays a huge role in some of her mental health. But in this house, her younger sibling ends up having an imaginary friend named Miss Sugar. Miss Sugar, it's creepy. It's so creepy, and you should definitely check it out. I gave this book 4 stars. I don't want to say too much about it because there's definitely a lot of twists and turns in this book. And there are many secrets in this small town that she moves into. It actually talks about marijuana use and how a lot of the people in town have been locked up in the local jail for using or selling marijuana. They have very strict laws, even though that the rest of society around the surrounding area are actually expanding their laws and starting to allow it. This has so much in it. I definitely recommend that you dive into it. It is creepy. It is a thriller. It talks about things that happen within society, and I absolutely loved it. The last book we're going to talk about today is The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry. Now, this book was adorable. I did have to push myself a little bit in the beginning to get past the dialogue because it is written very original, and it was a push. It took a little bit of getting used to. But the story itself, there is a young lady who grew up in poverty, and she actually ends up finding a job with the higher class. She is hired to protect a woman, a lady, from anything and everything. People are out to get her. They don't exactly know why. They have to find out who is trying to kill this lady they are meant to protect before her wedding. Someone does not want her getting married and definitely wants her dead. Throughout this story, there is a love interest, and it is so cute. And there's definitely a struggle of the main character not quite feeling good enough because she was raised in poverty, and she's now surrounded by all of these higher class types. I absolutely love this story, and I gave it 4 stars. If you like anything witchy and fairy tale-esque, definitely check this out. That is all the books that I read in the second half of June. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, hit all those buttons, and I'll see you in the next one.